Welcome back to the It's Hard to Explain podcast.
I'm,
How
of course, Adam, of course.
Doing, boys.
I'm tired.
I had a sad day.
Oh,
I jerked off a few times.
That's pretty cool.
how many?
But really, right
Wait,
at the
wait,
start of
wait.
the episode.
How many?
2 or 3,
I was gonna say,
Those are rookie numbers.
How many's a few?
Got to pump that up.
17.
I think the limit the male body can withstand is 7.
There was
Before you
there
start
was hang on
spitting
there
nothing.
there is a guy who has proven this. It was like he died of like cardiac arrest after doing it like
40
something times, and it was like 43 times in a row. And so the top comment said, "So you're telling me the limit's 42?"
Let's test.
That's when you'll start reaching your limit.
Mythbusters.
It's like that dude, Mr. Schmidt, who went around stinging himself with every bug in existence to figure out how much it hurt compared to the other bugs. It's like, there's always got to be that one guy pushing the boundaries, figuring things out for the rest of us.
doing a great service
Innovating.
for mankind.
Innovation.
Yes. So 42 is the limit, boys.
I'm going to try later.
Yep, me too.
It's like those Japanese experiments during World War II.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Ethan gets it.
So, Kaegan, what were you saying?
I had a sad day.
We completely ignored
So you
that.
had a bad day.
Well, I mean, you already know why. I was at a funeral.
I don't know the rest of the words.
My dad's sister passed away, so I was mostly sad because seeing your dad cry is
It's weird.
it's a
It
weird
is a
thing,
weird
especially when you go to hug him and he just kind of collapses in your arms and cries.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not really sure how to handle this at this very moment.
Yeah, it's awkward.
It was awkward, but I was like, don't you fucking start crying, you big bitch. I'm going to start crying too. And I did start crying, but it wasn't like I burst into tears. It was like in an anime when the tears just start streaming, but there's
Yeah.
I was just streaming down my face. And I was just like, gotta be strong, Kaegan. You gotta be strong. And I was like, yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, no.
Sad funeral, but apparently my dad is friends with a really rich guy who has a gold-plated AK that I met at this funeral, and I was like,
Did he bring it with him?
no, it was in a, he does like showrooms, and I
It
think
is
it's
Texas.
he does like showrooms, and I think
You okay?
I tried to sneeze and I bit my tongue.
he does like showrooms, and I think it's like a
sorry to kill the
art
vibe there.
piece. It's like
It
an
still
art
kill my
piece in
vibe.
the kitchen.
In the
kill my
art
vibe.
piece in the kitchen.
Yeah,
That's hard
gold-plated
as
AK,
fuck.
but it's like in the counter,
Hell yeah.
and I was like, that's pretty fucking
Can he
cool.
take
Does it have
out?
like a, in case of emergency, break glass?
I have no clue. They
Break
called him
the glass with
I'm having
another
trouble
gun.
talking right
I know
now.
you're recovering right now.
I don't know his
My
name,
tongue
but
hurts.
Yeah.
but they called him Big Sexy. That was what they called him, and I will explain why. Because my Aunt Kelly, who is the one that passed, rest in peace, she had nicknames for a lot of people, and he was my uncle's pastor at their church for a while. But she called him Big Sexy because the way he described it is I was making coffee one day in my underwear, and she came out and saw me and said, "Hey, Big Sexy," and I was like, We need to backpedal. Why
we
was
need
she
to know less about each other.
Why was she? Why was she within range of you while you were making coffee in your underwear? What is the context?
So, all I can picture when you said his people
He was
called
a
him
big fat guy,
Sexy,
too.
All I can
That's
picture
what I
is like
imagine.
your dad or like another family member in tears. Thanks for coming, Big Sexy.
They also called him that guy.
Thanks for
That
coming,
guy?
that guy.
I also was,
Hey, it's that guy.
yeah. I also had a
The sexy
I'm-
guy with the coffee.
With the coffee.
I also had a $20 old fashioned, which
You sent
Jesus
a blurry
Christ,
picture.
yeah, I had like 4 of them.
I think he had
I
too
think
many
that's
$20
awesome. Yeah, I
old
think that's
fashions.
awesome though, because that's the first picture you sent us too,
And it's
it was
just
blurry.
like you're, hey
It was a blurry
guys!
picture of alcohol. It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, hard album cover.
Yeah,
On God.
honestly,
But that was they used Woodford Reserve, which is like a really good quality whiskey.
It's up there.
And my uncle called me a little bitch because I asked for a Moscow Mule, and I wanted to tear into him, but I was like, no, he's grieving. I have to be nice. But yeah, that's that.
Adam, are you bleeding?
I don't know.
Here, give me one of these. Give me a
Bite the tip off.
I could see a little bit of red.
As
Ethan's
Shay
closest to you.
said, as Shay said, you bit a chunk out
you
of
bite
it
the
the other
side?
day.
See, a few days ago, like Wednesday, I was eating my lunch and I bit the ever loving fuck out of it. It was horrible. Like, I bit it so hard that I felt like a crunching sensation. And I like immediately the pain shot, and I like felt it in my right ear.
Oh.
And to this point, like to this day, if I like rub the side of my tongue, I feel a tickle inside of my ear canal.
Yikes.
Yeah, I bit it
bugs.
really hard, and
There-
it's still healing. And I just chomped it again, so I've extended the healing process.
Ow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's how my day's been: beating off and munching
Tongue.
munching tongue.
munching tongue. Okay.
I feel like that's a very overlooked flaw in the human design.
True.
You bite your lip, your cheek, or your tongue. I feel like that needs to be worked
It's
out
in the way
next
of
update.
food. And the next update.
Dude, I hate
Cut out
the
your
fact,
tongue.
yeah, next patch notes.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that like you bite the hell out of your tongue, and like for the first day or two, it's not that bad. Like you can tell, like you know, it kind of hurts, but it's not that bad. And then the next like week is absolute hell, like pure agony as it swells and heals and fucking yeah. The first 2 days, nothing.
Yeah.
After you bite it, nothing, and then out of nowhere, it's just like the worst pain you've had in your life
It
for like
sucks
a
to
week
eat.
straight.
It sucks to.
Yeah.
Mm.
Everything I've tried to eat today, I've had to chew on the left side of my mouth to avoid that side of my tongue.
Yeah.
That is hell.
Yes. I am forever in a constant state of agony. Someone please put me out of my misery.
Question of the day.
I feel like
Question of the
Chester.
day. Who do you want to go missing?
That's that's okay. We'll get more into that in a second.
France.
Adam, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I feel like
Really?
Chester. I feel like Chester Bennington, the fucking guy from Linkin Park,
Yeah.
in the, what song was it? Oh, fuck. Giving Up.
Yeah.
The part where he's fucking just screaming, put me out of my misery.
And that scream lasts for like 17 seconds
Yeah.
or something like that.
Rest in peace.
Right before we started recording, we were talking about how Ethan should play Terraria and how good the soundtrack is. But as Kaegan was playing it, the more I realized it's just noise. Like every song and music is.
Technically
noir.
that's
But-
true across
but
the board for music.
What I meant was, have you guys seen Rick and Morty? That episode when Jerry is in the simulation
Now
and he's
here's
turning in the
human music.
Yeah, he's in the car and he's changing the radio station, and then he gets to one and it's like, and now here's human music, and it's just ding, 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 ding. It's just like little bops and
I think it's like,
pings.
it's just boop.
Yeah, it's like boop,
beep,
boop,
boop.
Yeah, yeah.
Boop.
That's what it is. Boop.
Have
That's
you
what
seen
Terraria music is.
Those videos where they put like those sound synthesizers and mushrooms and then they play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally just what Terraria music is. Just a wow 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 wow
It's
wow
neat.
wow.
it's neat.
It's neat.
No, it is.
It sounds very natural.
The music scratches a part of my brain. But it is just noise after.
It flicks my brain's bean.
I only drink. It sounds very natural.
That's a
Natural.
quote for Ethan.
I only
It
drink.
flicks
Flicks my brain's bean. My brain's bean.
My brain's bean.
You don't get it. I only drink kombucha and listen to mushroom music.
Listen to mushroom music. It's very iconic.
There's a quote for me. I only drink kombucha and listen to mushroom music. Mushroom on the beat, huh?
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey.
Our topic for today is missing 411.
On jaw.
This is our first researched episode of the year. And
This
if you
one's-
guys listened to our New Year's episode, we kind of explained a little bit about our new structure for research heavy episodes. And Adam and Kaegan decided to take the lead on this one because I think it's a topic Kaegan brought up, and then we were all like, hell yeah, we want to talk about that. And I don't know about Ethan, but me personally, I don't know or did not know a lot about missing 411s
I don't
until
really either.
this idea came up for an episode topic. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
So this is there's kind of a caveat to it that Adam will explain, but essentially the premise, my research was very limited unless I wanted to do some heavy digging or spend money, because I didn't realize before this. I knew about missing 411 from like YouTube and just all that kind of stuff, but I didn't realize it was a whole book that someone wrote. Yeah, someone wrote.
It's not just a book; it's a whole series.
It's a whole series of books that someone wrote.
They
So
even
if
made
you
it like
wanted
a
to-
TV miniseries based on the books.
So if I wanted to know every detail, I'd have to buy these books. I was like, I'm not fucking
Wait,
doing that.
I have a question. So the book that you're talking about, is it about missing?
It's called
411?
Missing 411.
Is it?
It's
is
about-
it like a compilation of Missing 411, or is it just like a?
Essentially, it's like I think one or two of them might be about specific cases, like
It's
outlining
just about-
them throughout the whole book. But for the most part, it's kind of like an anthology
Of like people that just disappear.
of just like a ton. He'll just find a bunch of different cases and put them all in the same book.
Okay, so I guess we can start with what is a missing 411.
So I actually have a pretty good definition here.
Okay.
So, a missing 411 is a case of disappearance for which there is absolutely no rational explanation. The second an explanation makes sense, this is very important. If there's an explanation that makes sense for this person going missing, whether it be murder, suicide, animal predation, etc., as soon as you can explain it, it no longer qualifies as missing 411.
Okay.
The name missing the name missing 411 comes from missing, just referring to missing, like a missing person's case, and 411 is the dial code for the information hotline.
Okay.
So
it's
missing
essentially-
information.
Yeah.
And a lot of these cases have a lot of very similar factors, such as they were like clustered together. Or Adam has a list of them that he's going to read.
Yes, I do actually.
There's a bunch of contributing factors that kind of just make them all somewhat similar in that vein. And then the dude that wrote them, Adam, you might want to explain this.
So I'll explain the profile points first. So there are 12 profile points. They don't always all apply, but most of the cases share at least a few of these. They're clustered. Usually they're like missing 411 cases happen within specific areas. Usually another point is national parks. There are a total of 52 clusters across the United States and Canada that cases happen in the vicinity of.
Interesting.
Yep, they usually happen in national parks. They usually involve elevation changes, like the person will go missing at like 4,000 feet and they'll find them at like 11,000 feet. They usually happen, they have a tendency to happen around bodies of water, berry shrubs, and boulder fields, like granite boulder fields.
Those are some odd consistencies.
Yeah, they can happen in swamplands. Usually impossible distances can be covered while they're missing. Like they'll go missing and then they'll show up like 12 miles away.
Yeah.
In like less than a certain amount of time. Usually whenever they bring in the dogs, they're just confused and they're unable to locate a trail. Victims, if they're found, usually are suffering some kind of memory loss and they don't know what happened to them, how it happened. They can't provide any details.
They essentially just like no clip out of reality.
Yeah,
And
this
then they'll
seems
just,
like it's some sort of paracausal.
No, I'll tell you what they do. They make another portal, and then they make another one and another, so they spawn 1,000 blocks away.
Yeah.
But,
But
they just have these. They'll just disappear, and if they are found, they'll be like, "How'd you get there?" They'll be like, "I don't know.
oh,
I just kind of,
Who am I?
woke up here."
and the last 2 points are they have a tendency to be missing clothing in some way, shape, or form, and it's usually children. It can be adults, but most of the time it's children.
One thing that is mentioned is that the people that do go missing, that are not children, have some experience with the outdoors. They're usually people that know what they're doing in the outdoors, so that's even.
Hikers and such.
Yeah, that's why it's
campers.
even more strange when they just vanish.
Yeah.
So like, well, they knew what to do. They just stopped being there.
I remember watching one video where this one guy went missing, but they found like his clothes were neatly folded, very far away from where he originally disappeared.
I think that's actually one of the cases we have on the
Probably.
document. Because
I did some heavy digging, dude. For one of
There
these
was-
guys, like I went on the FBI website and I found the official FBI documentation of the search, and
there was one guy where they found him and his clothes were just neatly stacked in like a pile, except his pants and socks.
Yeah.
But everything else was just neatly folded on like a log next to his boots.
there was one
It's
that
them cave
I
dwellers.
remember being one of my like
Hell no.
quote unquote favorites, one of the ones that freaked me out the most that I couldn't find whenever I was doing research, but I remember all the major points.
Yeah.
I can't remember like names and stuff though, but I'll tell that one just off of memory.
Okay.
But to preface things first, there's a very important disclaimer that I have to get out of the way.
The guy that wrote this book.
It is kind of a hack. So Whenever I was doing my research, like I originally heard about Missing 411 from the Wendigoon video, where
Yeah.
him and the guy from the Lore Lodge were talking about it.
Yeah.
And they based all their stuff, like he had David Paulides' book. That's the author, David Paulides. They had his book. He was an ex-police officer who, when he retired, he started to write these books and, start to document these missing 411 cases, as he called them. He's actually the one who coined the term.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay.
Yeah, he's like the originator of like all this stuff.
How long has it been a term for? Do you know?
I don't recall. Let me see. Like,
Because as far as I know, that's a fairly recent term that's been used, right?
yeah,
I think
fairly
it's,
so.
It's more just recently come to like popularity
Oh, gotcha.
as like because the internet's become more widespread, so people have a lot more access to information, and it's like a lot of people. I don't know about y'all, but I like listening to like mysterious shit like that, where it's like this person went missing. What killed them? That's a good question. Probably wolves or a bear. But it's like
It
but
was
there's
the invisible alien man.
or it's like there's
Hat
no
Man.
there's no traces. It's,
They took 40 Benadryl before hiking. He
That's a
came
great
to
idea.
collect on their debt.
Dude.
the hat man showed up and said, "Hey, pay time.
Paytime.
Where's my taxpayer dollars? I need them."
Give me your pocket link.
He goes, "Hey, it's tax time, and you owe me money."
Tax time.
So what I'm seeing is that like whenever the term was coined and like he published his first book and it actually became a known thing was in 2012.
Oh, so it is fairly recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, to preface things, yes, ex-police officer David Paulides. It's kind of hard to pronounce sometimes.
Yeah.
What would it?
That was my foot. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
The Hat Man.
The Hat Man. He's here to collect.
He's at the door.
So, like I said, my first experience with this stuff was through the Wendigoon video, and I kind of took everything at face value.
I did too, like a fucking sap. Like, oh, Wendigoon, you'll never lead me astray. But it's not Wendigoon's fault.
Yeah, it's been basically proven that David Paulides has a has a tendency to hyperbolize things in his quote unquote research.
Oh, boy.
He'll exaggerate things. He'll gloss over important details. Sometimes he'll make up important details to make things as
Dramatic.
as dramatic as possible. So the thing I put was, while these cases are based in truth, we must take them with a grain of salt as creative works, almost as much as actual genuine mysteries. It should be noted, this is important, it should be noted that before starting the Missing 411 project, David Paulides was devoted to proving that Bigfoot was real, and most of his works were centered around the fact that Bigfoot is real.
He is real.
Okay, so he's very credible. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very reliable. Take everything he says at face value.
exactly.
Yeah. He'll never lie. He doesn't lie.
But yeah, like some of the stuff, a lot of the stories of these missing persons, they are true for the most part. It's just people who go missing, and we still don't have like a really good idea as to what happened. But
Yeah, as far as I know, he didn't make up the cases. He just kind of
he just kind of like fluffed them up
Filled
a
in
little
the
bit.
blanks.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
See, what it felt like to me was whenever we were doing research, the stuff in like his first book is really genuine and mysterious. And then as it went on, I feel like he just kind of started to fluff them up as he went because he was starting to run out of content.
It's like,
Well, 'cause
man,
it's like-
I need more money.
well, because it's like
It's like while these are missing persons cases, they aren't very entertaining.
well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is I mean, if you know one missing person's case that's unexplained, you kind of know them all. They went to an area by themselves that they weren't experienced with, and then they disappeared. It's like you can only say that so many times before it's like, okay, I get it. They're gone.
Yep.
They ain't coming back. And I don't mean that to sound insensitive to like the families who lost these people, but it's just it's kind of like if you've heard one, you've kind of heard them all in that general idea of they
No, I
went
get
somewhere
what you're saying.
They went
all
somewhere-
missing. They all went missing.
unprepared and vanished.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot of research. I was up till like 2 a.m. last night doing this research.
Very nice.
I was off like 4.
You're off 4 perks.
I was
Okay.
I was off 4 of the old fashions. I had a couple drinks at the bar at the hotel. Wasn't drunk, but I was working up a buzz, and I was about to lay down, and my eyes shot open. It's like, I still need to research. I was like, I need to finish this research. So I just shot up, and I was
like
just on my phone. Just
It's like Sandy when she's hibernating and she wakes up. It's like,
I was like,
Who's
It's like
Dirty
Squidward.
Dan?
It's like
Yeah.
Squidward when he realizes SpongeBob and Patrick are in the bed with him.
Yeah.
I guess I'll
Get out
start.
of my house.
I guess I'll start to talk about the one that I remember that I couldn't find to actually write down.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't remember any of the like names and such, but I do remember the story. And it was basically that a son and his dad. So this dad and his kid, they were on like a Boy Scout camping trip together, and they went to these campgrounds. And they were very like popular, well-known, well-maintained campgrounds. These weren't like off in the middle of nowhere in the woods. They had like paved paths and roads nearby.
Okay.
Like it was a very easily accessible campground.
Very open.
Very open, like not a lot of shrubbery, not a lot of like danger from wildlife. Very safe and like monitored and well-maintained. And the boy and his dad, they were down at the water fishing. And this creek that they were at, or this river, was probably only like, there's a siren.
Yeah.
They found him.
They found me.
No, but this river that they were fishing at, it was probably like less than 500 feet from their tent.
It was, I think in the thing it said it was within eye shot of like their camp.
Not quite. Like
It was, you could
Yes
see the
and
camp.
no.
You couldn't see theirs, but you could see the
yeah,
camp.
you could
from where
see
they
like
were at.
the camp area, but their tent wasn't within eye shot. It was very close though. But they were down there fishing, and the son, he was walking around on the bank, and his foot slipped, and his foot went into the water, and he came up to his dad, and he said, "Dad, my socks are wet. I want to go back up to the tent real quick and get a new pair of socks." And Dad was like, "All right, cool. Just go up there and come right back. Don't dilly dally." And he was like, "All right." And the son walked off, and as the dad was fishing, he watched him. Like he kept his eye on him, and as he was walking off until he disappeared above the tree line. Like until his feet just got just above the tree line, like a few hundred feet away again. Like not far at all. Like definitely within voice shot without even having to yell too loud. Mm-hmm. And the dad just kept fishing, and probably about 10 minutes or so passed, and son still wasn't back, and he was like, and it's started to feel a little weird. So he gathered all their stuff and walked up to the campground. And
I will say it wasn't just 10 minutes. This kid was gone for a while, because I remember one thing I remember is that it was like midday when they started fishing, close to the afternoon. By the time he started getting worried, the sun was like setting, and he was like, "Okay, he's not back yet. I need to go like find him."
I feel like it was a lot quicker than that.
I could have swore it was like after a while he was like, "Okay, the sun's starting to set and he's not back yet." So I
It was
think
a very noticeable amount of time.
it was a noticeable amount of
Yeah.
time, more than like it doesn't take this long to change your socks. Like
Moral of the message is: do not leave your children unattended.
exactly. Why didn't he just go with him? Like
I guess it's because they had all that stuff set out or something for fishing.
Fuck
But
it.
even still, like
My
if it's just-
child's more
I mean,
important.
I agree,
Fishing
but if it's
rod.
just right up the road or hill or whatever, why not go with him? I agree.
well, that's how kids despawn.
Oh, I
You
actually
got to
found
keep
it.
an eye on them.
You found the actual story?
Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
found somebody
good.
talking about it. Apparently his name was Garrett Bardsley, and it was August 20th of 2004. And they were about 150 yards from their campsite. But yeah,
So it was very close.
he got his shoes and socks wet, and he walked up the trail, and the dad let him go. Yeah, it was only 20 minutes later.
Oh, okay, I
Roughly
thought it was
20
longer.
minutes later, his dad
Still,
walked. Yeah.
20
his-
minutes is a hefty amount of time.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. How old was this kid? 12 years old.
12 years old.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was a Boy Scout, so, and they, he was 12, and he's probably been in the Boy Scouts for a while, so the dad was like, I mean, we're in a very well-maintained, open
he's like-
campground. Like, I don't have to watch this kid every second.
He's like, he knows how to
He did.
start a fire and all that.
Plot twist, he did have
He
to watch
needed
that kid
to.
every second.
So the dad walked up the hill.
Yep. 20
And-
minutes later, whenever he started to get kind of worried, and he walked back up the hill, and the people at the campsite said he never even showed up
Oh,
at the campsite. I do remember there is no more info here, but I do remember that whenever they started to look around the area for him, because they were like, okay, we can find him on our own. Maybe he's just a kid being a kid, like he wandered off to go and try and catch an animal, or he's like playing a game and hiding from people or some dumb shit that kids do.
yeah,
So they start looking and they don't
Give
find
parents
him.
heart attacks.
Yeah,
for fun.
yeah, for fun,
For the funny.
for gits and shiggles. But
I did it for the funny. I'm a rapscallion.
Well, you're grounded. No Xbox for a month.
I remember they searched for him and they couldn't find him. And I think to this day, they still never found him. The only thing they found was like not too far away. And like I mentioned, a boulder field
What's his socks?
was like his wet socks. Like I think like one of his socks on the ground.
That is ominous as
and that's
fuck.
all they found.
All right, boys, I think I know what took him.
Crack the case.
A big eagle. A big eagle came and
big
swooped him up so fast his
Gandalf
sock
came
came
by.
off his foot.
It's pronounced Jandolf.
Gandalf. He said,
Do you think Jod will show you mercy when you meet him at the pearly gates?
at the pearly jates, Ethan.
the pearly gates. There you go. I ruined it.
I do not give a fuck. Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
quit.
Gandalf,
quit.
Gandalf
So-
picked him up with a big eagle and said, "I need you for a
How old was this kid?
journey."
12.
Journey
for 12.
I need you for an unexpected
Listen.
journey, little boy.
You are needed
fellas-
in the principal's office in heaven.
I'm going on an adventure.
You fellas now know the story of Jarrett Bardsley.
Parsley. Garrett.
It's pronounced Jiff.
But yeah, like that's always been one of my favorites, just because the idea of like he was gone.
I'm sorry, Ethan. I got to interrupt. What the fuck is that poster?
The Sum
That is
41.
Sum
What the fuck
41.
is Sum 41?
A band?
It's a band.
Yeah, it's a band. You've never
Dude.
heard of Sum 41?
No, I have not heard
Dude,
of Sum 41.
It's
I thought I was
early
looking at.
2000s.
I thought I was looking at a poster of serial killers. It's like, is Ethan fucking insane?
No.
You have got to be kidding me.
I got that for
not,
Christmas.
I am not kidding you.
Kidding.
I don't. Okay, so I don't know Sum 41 too well. The only song I do have one of their songs in my playlist, and it's the one that's like, "So am I still waiting for
wait.
this world to stop hating? Can't find a
Yes.
good
You know
reason."
them. You've heard them before.
I know that song. Okay.
You just don't listen to them.
I was looking
do.
at that dude, and I thought of the creepy guy from Gerald's Game.
Yeah, me too, actually.
They're like a band. They're one of those bands that like they weren't super popular and well known by name, but they had a few songs that everybody knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 3 Days Grace. Grace.
Okay. Okay, let's continue. I'm sorry to get sidetracked.
I mean, that's the end of that story.
Oh, just
like
with the whole
that's always
thing.
been
So
one
what
of
do
my
we-
favorites,
yeah.
just because of like how simple everything is.
The fuck you
it's
think
like
happened
it's
to him?
2000.
creeper.
It's 2004. It's 2004.
Oh,
It's the age of
man.
technology, and like somehow a kid can go missing less than 150 yards from his dad and other campers in a well-maintained campground in less than 20 minutes. Like,
To me, that seems like something like almost premeditated.
I mean, this
leaving
is-
your one
Guys,
sock.
it's
there.
obvious. It's the shape-shifting lizard pedophiles that live in the caves.
The Hat Man.
listen, maybe Mr. Politis is onto something. Maybe Bigfoot is real.
Israel.
And he crushed him like a beer can over
his
his head.
forehead after 1v1ing him in the woods.
So you're telling me Bigfoot just saw a little kid in an aquarium and was like,
Bigfoot?
I'll get.
Want.
You say Bigfoot?
Bitch,
But
We have lost our loyal listener.
But he bro, damn. He said, "Ooh, kid," and then he picked him up, took one sock off, left it on the floor, and then ran away with him.
you won't
was
be needing this anymore.
It's like we're gonna leave this behind as a message.
It's like, but why do we have to put it in a rock quarry? Because
it fits the profile.
it builds. He goes, it builds atmosphere.
Can you imagine though if I don't know how extensive the
she started,
the search
She
was.
started giving me a knobber.
I don't know how extensive the search was, but imagine that his clothes were like laid out like a cookie trail, and they just had to follow clues. And
Until it got to bone?
Maybe no, like the kid would be like, I don't know, playing in the woods, like see, I'm Tarzan or something, I don't know. But like imagine if that was like there was like a crumb trail, and they just stopped at the sock, and that was the first thing. They were
I
like,
can imagine that. Like, hey, I'm gonna go change my wet shoes and socks. Wait, I want to pretend I'm Tarzan. Let me strip naked.
and he got lost. Well,
You
I
go
mean,
play with the gorillas.
he just
play
got
with gorillas.
he just got the one sock, and then
In
you
the
know,
middle
used
of
it as
North
a-
America.
Yeah, maybe it was a tube sock. I don't know. That was very. It's much more versatile than a crew sock. So
Okay.
all I gotta say, if I was in Naked and Afraid, all I would need is one tube sock.
One tube
That's
sock.
all I'm saying.
On God.
Yeah.
And you okay?
Anyways.
I'd ask for a pair of pants. Be like, we can bring one item. Can I have pants? They'd be
I'm
like,
not broadcasting my nuts on live TV. Sorry.
They'll put a blur on there. He gets on the TV, and then it like premieres live. Everyone sees it at home. They did not blur his nuts. This is the star of the show. Anyways, go ahead, Adam.
Yep, but that's really all I got on the Jarrett Bardsley.
Jared.
Garrett Bardsley. Yeah, that one, oh man, that one fucks me up.
So has there been any information on that one since?
Nope.
Like to this day?
As
Nothing?
far as I know, no.
He just
So they just found
vanished.
the sock. That's it.
Just a sock.
Damn.
Yep.
Sounds like he was kidnapped.
By
Kidnap-
what?
See, that's the thing. We're missing information. All this shit. Like I said, 150 yards. That's the distance between his dad and other people in a campground. So somewhere within that distance, in less than 20 minutes, in broad daylight, in a well-maintained campground in 2004, he somehow manages to vanish with no trace except for one sock.
How big is a football field? Is it about
100 yards.
100 yards.
So a football field and a half.
It's a little bit bigger than a football field distance, and he disappears in that time frame. Yeah. No,
You
I
said
don't know about you,
150
but
yards.
Yeah, it's a
100.
football field and a half. A football field's 100 yards end to end.
That's
I mean, technically 120 if you count the end zones, but
yeah. So, I mean, even though that's it sounds like a big distance. If you've ran it, it's
yeah, like it's not that far.
Not that bad.
Like I said, like you could raise your voice and someone would hear you. And then
Yeah. Like you could talk to them, like not even be yelling.
yep. Anyway, I think that's it for that one.
okay.
Next up, me and Kagan both had this one on our list. It
Ooh.
was another little boy. How old was he?
Little boy.
I think he was like what 3, 4.
No, not that young.
Oh.
It was a Bobby Bicep.
He's like what? I think he was 7, wasn't he?
Oh man.
I don't think I actually got his age. Ruh-roh. Bad researcher over here.
Oh no.
You're fired.
Camp age. He was at camp.
Camp age?
Yeah.
Okay.
Robert Bobby Bicep in August of 1958.
He was 10.
He was 10 years old. There you go. He was attending Camp St. Malo in the Estes Park near the Rocky Mountain National Park. And like again, this is August of 1958. So peak Red Scare.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly a counselor, I think his name was Neil Hewitt. It might have been a different counselor though. Saw him fishing in a stream not too far from camp and called him and the other campers back for dinner. And whenever they got back to camp, they did a head count, like whenever everybody was eating, and they found out someone was missing, and eventually found out it was Bobby.
Where's old BB at?
Dang it, Bobby.
Where's
That
old
boy
BB? Where's
ain't
that boy
right.
BB at?
That
Oh, I saw
boy
him
ain't
fishing over yonder.
Cecil kidnapped him.
Who?
Cecil.
Who?
Cecil Stedman?
Who?
From Invincible? Cecil?
Oh. Continue.
Okay.
Yeah. Stupid.
Ruined it.
Cecil's Seashells by the Cecil store.
Cecil Shore.
The Cecil store.
Anyway, they did a head count at dinner, found out someone was missing, found out it was Bobby, and then they all started to try to search around the area for him because the stream wasn't that far from camp either. I didn't get a specific distance, but it wasn't that far. And after they searched for probably around an hour and they didn't find anything. And during that time there was a brief rainstorm that
Oh, how convenient.
yeah, it was a brief rainstorm that probably I think I saw that it was like maybe a little over a half an inch of rain, but still.
Yeah.
And after all that, they notified his parents and a nearby ranger station of his disappearance. After that, a full search with hundreds of volunteers, like 500 people, and local authorities, and I think even a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like they were all doing their thing, looking around, trying to find him. Didn't find anything. Didn't find much of anything for a while. And then 8 miles from the camp, a group of searchers saw what they described as a mysterious boy hiding in some rocks up the mountain, and then he kind of ran off.
It's a cave child.
Yeah,
A cave child.
but the boy wasn't identified or seen again after that.
So just one sighting?
Yeah.
Boy ran off.
Yeah,
What?
and 8 miles away from the camp.
It's like
What?
Toph in that one episode of Avatar with the swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is compelling these children to just run off into the woods?
like
call of the void.
they couldn't identify him. They didn't know if it was Bobby. They just saw what they described as a mysterious boy.
Do you think they went after him though?
I mean, probably, but
I would have.
like I said, he was kind of up a mountain
Oh,
a little bit
he's
in
on
some
the high ground.
rocks. Yeah,
Okay.
he had the high ground. It's over, Anakin.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So by the time they probably got up there, he was probably gone.
True.
And then later on, I think some more people started to report that they were seeing a boy that looked just like Bobby, and then a nearby man said, "No, that's just my son." So
What?
apparently there was a man who lived in the area that had a kid, like a young boy, that
A mountain
that
kid?
looked
Investigate that man immediately.
that looked pretty similar to Bobby.
That's just my mountain son.
Like Bobby was a bit, he had hearing aids, like he was pretty easily recognizable. And apparently this kid had hearing aids too. But that was it's just a coincidence that this kid looked like Bobby and also had hearing aids.
No.
That was
like-
him.
No,
had to be.
it wasn't.
What?
Authorities checked it out. It wasn't.
The fuck?
Yeah.
What?
It was
Anyway.
actually his son. It wasn't a ruse.
They're in on it. Okay, they were paid to keep their mouths shut.
By a farm
That
hick?
makes no
Farm
makes no fucking sense. Huh?
I meant to say mountain
I think
hick,
not.
but
What's
that's
the
just
difference?
my mountain sun peeking on you from the rocky outcrop. It's like, maybe don't do that.
They also aren't sure if the unidentified mysterious boy and this guy's son were the same person.
It probably was. He's probably scouting out for dinner.
Like I said, this is 1958. Like they don't exactly have instant communications and like technology that well.
Helicopters back then were very,
Precarious.
yeah. I was almost going to say primitive.
I got my little
Yeah.
boy creature to
It was
crawl
basically
the
just like
parameter of
it was
the fucking
basically just
mountain
like
home.
search for food. It was like a ceiling fan on a wooden crate. Like
It's like Smeagol or Gollum.
anyway,
Little
Boy
creature.
creature.
after a few weeks of searching in these mountains with not the greatest weather and not the greatest temperatures, both the parents and the authorities eventually relinquish hope that Bobby is still alive and call off the search, which over the course of the next months, if not years, his dad would still periodically go back to the area and, search it just on his own. But nearly a full year later, in July of 1959, a counselor at the camp, like the camp had already gone through the cycle and already started the new season, one of the counselors at the camp and one of the lead searchers during the search of last year, Neil Hewitt, discovers Bobby's remains while leading a group of campers on a hike, and he found the remains at 11,000 feet elevation. He finds some of Bobby's clothes, his hearing aids, and a human scapula bone, which is your shoulder blade.
I thought it was a skull.
No,
Or is that a different one?
different one.
Okay.
Yep, he finds some of his clothes, his hearing aids, and one of his scapula, which is the triangular.
Dude was eaten by a fucking mountain lion.
Yeah.
I'm just calling it.
I mean, that sounds right.
After reporting the finding, authorities arrive, and after more searching, they discovered many bones of the thoracic region, which is like the chest, abdominal region, including another scapula, a clavicle, collarbone, a humerus, which is the upper arm bone, several vertebrae and vertebral discs, and most of the ribs.
Damn.
Yeah, sounds like he was eaten.
He was
That's what it
mauled
sounds
by
like.
either a bear or a mountain lion or a cougar or something.
That's still
and then the
awful.
birds picked him clean.
But you gotta think, that whole time, the remains were not that far from camp. Like they were,
So how did they miss it?
like they were
Maybe,
like apparently just up the hill, like within hiking distance for kids.
What?
That's
Maybe he was playing a game, got lost. I don't know.
Maybe he wasn't dead then, and he ended up getting lost, and they just couldn't find him, and then he died.
he was surviving like that one kid in Jurassic Park 2.
Maybe he was a
Oh, yeah.
mysterious
Yeah.
mountain boy.
Pissing
Maybe
in
there was
jars.
just- Pissing in jars. What jar?
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was mysterious mountain rock boy.
Maybe there's a cult of them out in the wilderness. I mean,
Me and my
Yeah.
army of cave children.
that just reminds me of fucking
Little lamplight.
Like somewhere on Earth there is exactly what Lord of the Flies is,
Yeah.
just on an island somewhere. Like it's gotta be.
Hopefully.
That would suck. What are you talking about?
Hopefully.
So, one thing I have to talk about. Okay, this is one thing that Mr. Politis so politely failed to mention.
politely failed to mention.
Yeah, so politely failed to mention is that this camp, Camp St. Malo, is a Catholic camp for Catholic boys and Catholic priests, and supposedly like three of the camp counselors that were overseeing.
You want to get closer to Jesus?
What did you say, Adam?
Supposedly, like three of the camp counselors that were overseeing them while Bobby was there were proven to diddle.
Oh no.
The Kittle.
including Mr. Neil Hewitt that I just spoke of, who was the one who found his remains.
No, they killed him.
Oh.
They killed
To
him.
to shut him up?
It's possible.
Huh.
Hang them.
This is awful.
Yeah.
This is
Burn
One
their
of them, I
corpse
remember,
to the
one of the other
ground.
counselors, Mr. I think his name was like Rob White or something. I think it was proven that between the years of like 1959 and 1980, he diddled over like 80 children.
Jesse.
damn.
And
need to
then,
diddle
He's
children.
he's got a Katie ratio.
and Mr. Neil,
A kid diddle ratio.
yeah, Mr. Neil Hewitt, during the same time period, not quite as bad, only diddled like 8 or 9, but
Still
bad.
Still deplorable.
yeah, still
Awful.
murder worthy.
Wood
Yeah.
chipper.
I think anything over 0 is murder worthy.
True. Even like a
Hangover,
0.5 with like Dr. Disrespect.
I only
attempted.
halfway diddled him. I had the intent to pedophile, not the full thing.
Well, congratulations.
You still
win
get to
nothing.
die.
You had nothing.
Now face the wall.
I'll always be right here on the negative $12 bill.
Wow, this is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
You're an official congressman.
I'm legalizing
Everything.
Uh,
I think the last time we referenced that was way back in like
weird laws.
Probably-
weird
yeah.
laws.
I don't
I
know.
think so.
Just
sounds right,
That
yeah.
sounds right. That's our second episode.
Remember, don't be honking your car horn outside of a sandwich shop after 9 p.m. in Little Rock,
Little Rock.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
I think that law was made in like 1940.
Something like that. The next one, Mr. Charles W. McCullough.
Oh boy, this is
Is
the
he
good one.
Irish?
I don't know.
This is a good one.
No, he's American.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Anyway, Mr. McCullough, he really hawked those to us.
I'm going to press record again, so it'll end everything.
Anyway,
Well, we're restarting.
this disappearance happened in January of 1975, and this one, whenever I was digging, I actually found my way onto the official FBI website and looked over the actual documentation. It was like 39 pages of really hard to read documentation because
saw the
they
documentation,
like
yeah.
scanned it into the computer and it's super staticky, and there's like ink all over it and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, gotta love the government agencies. Bread. So on January 29th of 1975, 18-year-old Charles McCullough, so adult, barely, left a friend's apartment in Eugene, Oregon, and he was going to travel to Crater Lake National Park. Charles, he was an avid nature photographer and planned to take photos of the lake and the surrounding wilderness over the course of the next 2 days, and he was going to be back on January 31st. When February 1st arrived and Charles still hadn't returned or contacted his friend, the friend called local law enforcement and reported him missing. So Charles, it says this later, but Charles, he was like going out in the woods and doing stuff like this. This was like his life.
Yeah.
Like he was very knowledgeable. He was very well prepared. He always had the correct equipment. He always had the correct safety set
He
up.
wasn't no 10-year-old boy.
Yeah,
he
th-
knew what he was doing.
This wasn't his first rodeo. This was like his 50,000th rodeo.
He's very bushcrafty.
Exactly. He had a nice bush. So one thing of note that I have to bring up here, I mean, it was the 70s. Everyone had a nice bush.
They probably put pomade on it.
Yeah. Styled it.
Yeah. When was this again?
1975.
I want a handlebar bush.
Handlebar bush.
Give mine a perm.
I would like a goatee for my bush.
I'd like a mullet for my balls.
What are we talking about right now?
We're talking about the 70s.
That's an interesting time.
I'd like a ball fro, please.
There was a lead singer that had a mohawk. It was a mohawk down the top of his head, and then in the back it was a mullet.
Oh
yeah,
my
I'd
God.
love to give my bush a middle part.
A low taper fade on my bush.
Imagine my bush had a low taper fade. Anyway,
Had the Edgar cut.
Wait, Ethan. Wizard bush. Wizard
It's just
bush.
really fucking long.
Any
really thick.
Any pants you wear, it's just like
It like hangs out of the hangs out of the pant
For
leg.
one,
Your
it just-
penis
it
hangs
peeks-
out like
it
a
peeks
long
out.
nose.
It
just
itches
a
like
hair.
a bitch
It,
too.
it peeks out of your pant, like the bottom of your pants, and it's also like it's so much hair that you got to scrunch it up every single
You
time.
have to roll it up. And
Yeah, it
put
looks
a
like you're wearing a
ponytail in it.
diaper. Yeah,
I was gonna say it just hangs low, but the only thing that pokes out is the tip of his penis, so it looks like a nose. His
Wizard.
balls are hidden.
Any whoosies.
Anyways,
Adam,
back to the,
any whoosies.
Who the fuck? Alston said Wankleys. Anyways, sorry, dear listener. I'm looking at the research on my phone, so I got that notification, and I couldn't avoid saying something. For some unknown reason, with this case of Mr. McCullough here, whenever it came to searching for him, the FBI decided to get involved, as I said, because I was looking through the official paperwork. Typically, whenever it comes to like a missing persons case, the FBI only gets involved if kidnapping or foul play is suspected, which this was like they had just started looking, and there was no indication of either. So to this day, no one really knows why the FBI got involved in this.
To me, that's a red flag immediately.
They're
Yeah.
already.
I was like, this guy had
Involved.
some government secrets, and like
Yeah.
they buried him in the woods. But anyway,
they're like, yes, we're getting involved, but why? We care about. Our
we
civ-
really
He
care
probably
about this
stumbled
guy.
upon a secret facility.
we really care about this guy.
Yeah.
Some Stranger Things type shit.
When you find what happened to him,
Area
you
52.
don't be surprised.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
originally, the state police, they worked under the assumption that McCullough had just changed his itinerary without informing anyone. But the FBI stated that he was too responsible to do such a thing, and instead theorized that he had succumbed to the snow and the inclement weather conditions.
The FBI said that?
Yep.
Because they knew him so well.
Yeah. No, I think they had already like interviewed
Sounds like
family or
something
They're
would
like,
say.
yeah, I know him personally.
Sounds
He
like
changed
something
his
they would say.
schedule.
Yeah.
But they theorized that he instead succumbed to just bad weather because there had been some bad weather in the area that I'll elaborate on later. But they were even kind of iffy on that because his gear that he had with him and his survival knowledge was described as being exceptionally good. Like he had the right gear. He had a sleeping bag and jacket that was comfortable down to like negative 24 degrees. And it wasn't getting anywhere close to that. Like he was set up and good to go. Eventually, a witness came forward saying that they had given someone matching his description a ride to an access road that was within 20 miles of Crater Lake National Park.
That was the sound of the gunshot they used
Yeah.
to kill him.
I don't think we should.
I'm gonna get a knock on my door.
Bro, damn.
Oh, damn.
Anyway,
Ethan, I talked to you about this.
so
What
they-
did we? Hey, what did I tell
What
you?
did we
What did I
talk
tell
about?
you? Tickling is no laughing matter.
Can I have some ice cream? You want some ice cream? Did you pick out all the nuts? Anyway,
Gravity Falls is awesome.
it is. Watch the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, speaking of Oregon, this is in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
Gravity Falls. Go watch it.
That's what
That's
happened.
what happened.
Stanford Pines.
He wandered into Gravity Falls and got fucking destroyed by
Yeah.
something.
So,
Bill
The
Cipher.
gnomes. It was the gnomes. Anyway, how many times am I going to say anyway?
anyways,
During that time, like I said, the weather had been inclement, and there was a pretty massive snowstorm that had been ravaging the area and deposited anywhere between 24 and 90 inches of snow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it
that's
was,
enough to drown in.
yeah, it was wild. Like if you really think about it, 6 feet. You know, the average height of a human male is 72 inches.
that's average. 6 feet is average.
I don't think it is.
Suck
They
it.
say 5'8" is average.
That I'm perfectly.
That sounds like some copium to me, but anyway, this was 90 inches in some areas. So taller, like that's like 8 feet almost.
That's almost as tall as Ethan.
It's 2 feet taller than me.
8 feet.
Feet?
Feet, Admiral.
Yes, sir.
The search was fruitless until nearly 2 years later, in November of 1976. Almost 2 years later, so like it's like a year and 10 months. A group of hikers found a weathered backpack and a set of keys that had a Volkswagen key on it, which matched Carl Charles's like list of items that was said that he had, and the key to his car. So they brought, and this was found almost approximately 12 miles from the access road where the witness said he had dropped off someone matching his description. After turning them in at the ranger station, the authorities returned to the search in this new updated area that they hadn't looked in yet. And the first thing they found was a skull and a jawbone. Yep. And in terms of like trauma or anything, there was no sign of any kind of trauma or damage to the bones itself, other than like, being weathered for being exposed to the elements for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then after searching further in the area, they found a little bit higher up on the mountain near a place called Bybee Creek. They found Charles's jeans that were sitting upright on a log, as if somebody, and the belt and the zipper and the button and the belt had all been undone, as if somebody had like done them themselves and like taken them off. And the jeans were sitting on the log with none of his upper clothing articles found anywhere nearby. It was just his jeans, and his socks were tucked into like the bottom of the pants, like whenever you just pull your pants off and they kind of take your socks with them, and your socks get stuck in the bottom of the pant leg. They found that, and inside of the socks were foot bones.
What?
And inside of the pants were snapped shin bones. But the pants and the socks themselves weren't damaged at all. They weren't torn up or anything.
What?
Yeah.
They vaporized him down to his feet.
He was atomized.
He
dude.
was atomized.
A
And
wizard
then-
showed him his crystal, and he
Bring them the flame of the
I will
ancients.
show you my Timu crystal.
vaporized.
They did find the rest of his skeletal remains approximately 12 feet away from the log,
So, like his upper half.
basically.
Was he cut in half?
I think during all that snow, a Yeti got to him and peeled his skin off like
Like they-
like an orange.
What the leading theory is that he wandered to this area and died there on the log, and then some animals kind of just picked him apart
But
little
the
by little.
clothes
But
weren't-
that doesn't check out because there are broken bones inside of the socks and the jeans.
And they're sitting
But
upright.
the jeans aren't like torn apart, and none of the clothes that are
Yeah.
there are torn apart. There are a lot of
Wildlife
clothes missing.
Would have ripped the clothes up a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
like,
get to the.
or like used them to like make a nest or something.
that's a lot. That's a thing with a lot of these stories is like none of the pieces really fit together just right. Like we can make a theory, but there's always something that doesn't check out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What happened?
Exactly.
I don't understand, dude. What could have happened?
This would
That
send
happened.
Sherlock Holmes into a fucking
no,
coma.
the
can't
the
solve
government got involved and said, peel his everything.
Test this new weapon on him.
It's called the vaporize everything but leave your pants
called
perfectly
the
sitting straight up.
F-22
Inator.
Eagle.
It's called the atom. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to
It's called the destroy everything except his shin and feet bones and leave his jeans perfectly upright and dated.
It's a specific setting on the gun.
Very specific.
What are
just
the
for
other
that
two
guy.
settings?
Vaporize.
and
Just
destroy the
pants.
tri-state area.
Vaporize, and then
Vaporize
there's, and then
in
there's
there.
his fluff option where it just kind of fluffs the clothing.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that's Mr. McCullough.
Collar.
Yeah, I fucking.
What do
yeah.
y'all think got to him?
I'm going to refrain from commenting.
No, do it, Ethan.
Not a big fan of the government.
Jack is like, don't you dare.
Like, I'm sitting here, and it's like, again, I'm already sussed out about the fact that the FBI got themselves involved
Yeah.
in this for from
But
what
the-
I can tell, no fucking reason.
If they did something to him, why would they do that to him?
Specifically.
Specifically
is
to make it
barbaric.
that confusing for everybody.
That's a good point.
But it leads even more questions because, I mean, if they wanted to
It's
make
like,
it look
yo.
like an animal attacked him, why leave the clothes
It's like,
perfectly
yo,
intact?
Jeffrey, get this. What if we did this? Like, what if we
Go catch a
broke
Wolverine or
What if we
something,
like
and then
broke
here
his
you go.
legs off here and left that part in his pants,
And then we just pulled
we
him
just kind
out.
of scatter the rest of it over there, but make the rest of his clothes disappear.
Yeah.
It's like,
What?
It's
like-
like, you are a sick
No,
man.
see, he
he
Johnson.
looks at it. He looks at him and says, "The divorce is that bad, huh?"
See, a lot of these.
You are a sick man, Johnson. I love it.
You're a sad, strange little man. With a lot of these, my mind automatically thinks that they're staged.
Staged?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Because of
because-
how popular they're becoming?
Well, not even that, but just the circumstances that occur, like how the bodies are found, the clothes are found, especially the clothes. Like
How
it
do you
just seems
explain
like
the
somebody.
bones?
Yeah, it sounds like somebody just said. I don't know. I don't know.
'Cause
That's the thing.
If you can test the bones, and if they're not human, then
Yes.
So,
So
have y'all heard the theory as to why Teddy Roosevelt founded the national park system?
yes,
About there being like a secret race of cave people?
yes,
Yes.
and
And
I
he founded-
actually believe
Yeah,
that
he
shit.
founded the National Park Service as kind of like a
cover up.
keep people away from that area, or keep like the vast majority of civilization away from that area. And then every now and again, people will go in, and the cave people will just kind of take them, and it's kind of like an offering, so that they'll just kind of leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah,
The blue people.
Dabba dee dabba die.
Isn't that a
I mean,
band?
I fully believe that there are some feral human beings.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, have you been to Florida?
Yes, I used to live there.
The Falmer exist.
Exactly.
Floridians.
America's basement.
Anyway,
That's fucking wild.
Palmer
though, dude.
exists and they live in Florida.
yeah. Get ready for this one.
Don't buy their peaches.
Get ready for this one. This is one of the most well-known ones like ever, and this one, the person was actually recovered alive. So, Keith Parkins.
Parkins.
Keith Parkins in April of 1952.
Threw up in my mouth a little.
That was hot.
Okay, go ahead.
bird.
April of
Baby bird. Who said that?
I did.
Oh.
Oh,
All right.
Mr. Parkins. Well, he's only 2 years old, so he's not quite a mystery yet.
No, fuck it, Mister.
Yeah, Keith
Mr.
Parkins.
Parkins.
Sir Parkins.
After this experience, he's a bit more of a man now.
Yeah. Anyway, 2-year-old Keith Parkins was on his family ranch in Ritter, Oregon. He was playing outside with his brothers when they were called back for lunch. And whenever they came back, it was just the brothers. He did not come back for lunch.
Ruh-roh.
He was missing, and they began a search for him. A few hours later, approximately 4 miles away, they found his footprints.
4 miles away, they found
A
footprints.
2-year-old.
Baby's footprints.
Yeah, 4 miles away, they found tiny human footprints a few hours later. And then after several more hours of searching that bled into the next day, it was 19 hours later, they found him alive. He was face down on the ground, covered in scratches, and approximately 12 miles away from the ranch where he went missing. When asked about the scratches, he kept saying a cat scratched him. And as for the incredible distance he covered in less than 24 hours, people wanted to see if that was even possible. So, do you guys know Les Stroud?
No.
He had
No.
the show Survivor Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Les Stroud, the
I
Survivor
think
Man.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, he attempted to cover that same distance in less than 24 hours. He couldn't pull it off.
A full-grown man.
Full-grown
Survivalist.
survivalist man couldn't do the same thing that a 2-year-old supposedly could.
He's just built
No.
different.
Yeah, he's just built different.
What the hell?
What's the one case that we were talking about where the kid was found in a tree?
That's the next one on the list.
What?
Teaser.
Teaser.
Oh, there's one I can think of that I don't have on a list where the kid was found in like a cave at the top, like the tippy top of a mountain.
What?
There's one I know of.
There was one where the kid was found in a cave in a cliffside. Like they had to go to the top and rappel down to this cave to find this kid.
Damn.
I don't know how the fuck the kid got there.
Yeah. What the hell?
Big Eagle.
Big Eagle.
He walked.
That's literally the only thing I think of is a big bird grabbed him and
The
dropped
hawk.
him.
The hawk two-ed them.
Feral.
A crow flies.
But the,
Hawk
hawk
to
two
us.
us.
But there was one I know of. I don't know if this is I don't know if this one's a missing 411, but
On Ja.
it was
On
a case
Ja.
of a little boy who went missing, and he was found like I think a couple miles from the next town over in someone's shed, just all like shivering and cold. And they're like, "How the fuck did you get here?" And he had no idea how he got there.
It's weird how they have no recollection of how they got there.
Well, a lot of these situations are with small children. So
A lot of me thinks of like, so like I have an experience that happened in my childhood for sure that was so traumatic that I cannot remember it at all. Like my mom remembers whenever I was very little, I said something to her that was like a massive red flag. And whenever she asked about it again, I just never said anything ever again, never talked about it again. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. So something happened to me that was so traumatic that my brain just blocked it out, supposedly forever. It might come back to me one day.
Does your mom ever tell you what it was?
She just told me what I said.
What'd you say?
I'm not going to say that on the podcast.
Yeah, it's probably best not to say it on the podcast.
Can you say it after?
Yes.
Okay.
It
Are
has
you
something
comfortable with
to
sharing that
do
information?
with the hobby of those camp counselors from that Catholic camp.
Oh, okay.
When I was gonna say I don't have something like that, but when I was younger, my parents would always. I was prone to leaving the house when I was like 2. I was a little escape artist.
There you
Oh,
go.
dude, me too.
There's
I'd-
the reason
I'd-
these kids keep
Okay,
disappearing.
okay,
True.
but I would find a way to get out of the house, and I would go. They'd find me in a construction site playing on the equipment.
what? What?
What is wrong with you?
See, I had something similar, but for me, it was whenever I was sleepwalking. My mom said,
Those-
It was funny because
marbles
I
you
did it
ate.
so often that they weren't even bothered by it anymore because they just knew where I was at. Because I would only go to that construction site and play on the equipment. They'd just be like, "He went down to the construction site again, didn't he?" And then they just find me there.
How far was this construction?
It
site?
was it wasn't
7
it
miles
wasn't
away.
far at all. So I guess it was while the neighborhood was being built. So it was probably just a couple houses down. But
If I was your parent, you would be locked in your room constantly.
yeah, but look how I turned out.
exactly.
I'm a feral man.
Exactly.
Anyway. No, I had something similar whenever I was sleepwalking. Whenever I was really young, I had a bad problem with sleepwalking. I don't really do it anymore. I sleep talk a lot, though.
I sleep talk.
Shay's
So does
gotten,
Kayla.
Shay's gotten some funny shit out of me while I was sleep talking.
Dude,
I just snore.
Kayla, whenever she worked at the animal shelter, and she would have nights where I'd just be dead asleep at like 3 a.m. and she'd just shoot up and start whistling to like get a dog's attention. And I was
fucking
like,
terrifying.
she was like, come here, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? What the fuck?
doing?
What the hell?
But she'd be facing away from me, so it's like, am I gonna have to like
Fight
punch
or
this bitch
flight
in the back
kicks
of the
in.
head, dude? I think I also figured out when I was down at this funeral. I think I figured out where my persistence to be clean comes from.
And
Shit sock.
Valid.
That makes sense.
I think that ingrained something in me that now like I have to be clean.
to be
Because
the
if
fire
I'm-
perceive me as
Because if I'm not, I freak
shitty.
out.
I have a couple of. So I had a similar deal to Kagan, where whenever I was little, I'd sneak out of the house, but I only did it whenever I was sleepwalking. So that my blah blah. Damn,
bro, damn.
My mom found whenever I was like 1 or 2, like I just old enough to walk. My mom found me outside at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just kind of absent-mindedly wandering around the yard.
What?
I literally like got up, somehow opened the front door, and wandered around the front yard as a toddler.
I would wake up. I would wake up in
Sleepwalking.
my mom's
Asleep
bed.
the whole time.
sleepwalk to my
I'm going to
mom's room.
install some security cameras, buddy.
See, what they did is they put an alarm on the door so that if it got opened, it would sound a loud alarm,
Yeah.
and then they'd come and grab me. But that kind of shot him in the foot because it was at it was when my mom was still living with my grandma, and my uncle still lived there too. And my uncle would always come back super late from partying and set off the alarm almost every night. So
I have 2 instances of like sleepwalking or doing things in my. One of them is me in my sleep, and the other one has to do with my dad. But the only instance that I can think of me doing something creepy whenever I was sleeping was, I used to sleep over at Kagan's house a lot, and we would. Whenever we would go to bed, we would pick a movie to watch on the TV that he had in his room. He didn't have like cable or anything, so he had to pick like a DVD to watch. And I think it was Lord of the Rings or something, as it normally was.
Good choice.
And we had fallen asleep, and his mom walked into the bedroom to turn the TV off because I guess it was loud or it was annoying or something. And as she was in there turning off the TV,
you sat
apparently-
straight up
I
and
sat-
looked
I
her
sat-
in the eyes and said, 2 days.
I
And then
sat,
went back to
okay,
sleep.
that's like half of it, actually. I sat straight up. My eyes were wide open, and I just stared at her. I didn't say anything, apparently, but it creeped her the fuck out.
Yeah.
It creeped me out, too. I was like, what did I do? What?
She's just looking at you the next
like-
day like,
Yeah,
she's like splashing
"You-
holy water on you and shit.
She's like-
You
she's like-
get to go home.
She's like, Kagan, your friend has to leave now.
I was about to say, she's like, Kagan, I think Jake needs to go home.
Yeah.
I'm sure his parents miss him. It's like, what are you talking about? I think he needs to leave.
Yeah, she told me that the next day.
Kagan, there's a knife missing. Come here, sweetie.
Hide all the sharp objects. Anyway,
That was rough because Kagan has like 200 swords.
Oh God.
and you live with him now.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And the second
Listen
instance,
here.
the second instance was with my dad, and I think he was on a different medicine, or he was on something, I think. And he already has a really hard time sleeping. And I think it was my mom that woke up and caught him doing this, but he does this weird thing where he loves to clean. Doesn't matter if anybody's coming over or what. It doesn't matter what day it is. He will just get up, clean the house, dust everything.
I feel like that's a healthy.
Man, I'd
Have it
kill
clean.
for that hobby.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a nice hobby to have,
His
but he does it all
parents'
the
house
time.
his parents' house is always
Spick
so
and
clean.
span.
Yeah, and it's because of my dad. But one night I guess he had cleaned somewhere else around the house, but then he got a spatula, and my mom caught him like cleaning in between the so our floor is concrete, and it has this pattern in it where it's kind of like a diamond pattern, like a checkers almost, and in the creases in between the squares there's little divots. Yeah, and my dad was
trenches.
cleaning the divots with a spatula,
Damn.
like on the ground, really close, like scraping
It's
away.
like, bro,
Yeah.
calm down.
It reminds
Dude
me
is
of
committed.
It reminds me of Hereditary when main character's mom is possessed at the end, and she's like banging her head on the fucking
Ceiling.
Yeah, it's freaky.
When grandma's crawling on the ceiling, cleaning the ceiling fan.
Oh God.
See, I never did sleepwalk or anything like that, but my brother did. I'm sure I told y'all this story before.
Son of Emmer?
This was when my brother was really into Minecraft. So one night, oh boy, he had grabbed his foam diamond pickaxe,
Yeah.
put a shoebox on his head, and was in the living room beating the couch with his pickaxe. It scared the shit out of my mom.
Yeah, in his sleep, he did
In
this?
his sleep. He was addicted to Minecraft. Every day after
no.
school, he was on the iPad playing Pocket Edition.
It was on the iPad too. That makes it so much better.
Yeah.
He was an iPad kid.
He was.
Oh
He was.
man.
Fucking clubs your mom to death with a pickaxe.
Creeper. I could get her recollection.
She's
of
like
the
crying in the corner. He's like, "Is that a ghast I hear?"
I need your
fucking
tears.
I need your tears for potions.
That is so terrifying. Is that a guest I hear? I need your tears.
I need your
for potions.
Tears. Potions. Potion setup.
Quips Elytra.
And Elytra flies out the window. Anyways, Adam, where are you with the stories?
We got way off
No,
track.
I like it.
I have another sleepwalking story.
Oh, do
though.
you? Oh, boy.
This one's from my brother's perspective.
Okay.
Oh god.
See, my brother, he didn't play any Minecraft Pocket Edition or anything of the sort. He was just kind of he was just kind of restarted.
Restarted?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so apparently my parents were in the living room like watching a movie together or something.
Yeah.
It was my mom and my stepdad. And me and my brother are from my mom and our biological dad, not our stepdad. So the only kid that she had with him was our sister. So me and my brother, again, this is this is a long time ago. They were in the living room watching a movie, and apparently Ben just kind of walked out into the living room and like walked up like next to the couch and just kind of turned and was just kind of looking at him. And my dad was like,
Fuck you what?
but yeah, he literally was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he didn't say anything. He just kept staring at him, and he was like, he looked at my mom and he was like,
You seen the shit?
like, "What the fuck is he
Yeah,
doing?"
what the hell?
And my mom was like, "Hang on, I think he's sleepwalking."
Yeah.
And he was like,
Was he freaking,
"Really?"
freaked out?
Yeah, he was like, "Really?"
Because you're not supposed to wake them up.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like really try and wake them up or like interrupt them in any way.
Yeah. So you just kind of have to let them.
So until you can like gently guide them in the right direction, but they were just kind of let him go. And she's like, "Give him a minute, maybe he'll turn around and go back to his room." And he was standing there watching him, and eventually he did turn around. He did turn around, but he just started walking towards the front door. And that's whenever she jumped up and she's like, "Oh no, okay." And she grabbed him by she like kind of grabbed him by the shoulders and kind of turned him around. She's
Dude,
like, "Come on." She's like, "Come on, Ben. Let's go this way. Let's go."
Dude,
and she kind of
if I
guided
had-
him back to his room, and he laid down and went back to sleep.
If I had kids and I woke up to one of them like standing at the side of my bed while I was asleep, they would get a haymaker to the jaw.
That is a perfect segue of what I was about to say. There's one time that my dad almost knocked the shit out of me for waking him up because
I think every parent has that experience with their kids.
But I think something was like really wrong with like one of my brothers or something, and I was trying to get his attention so he could help. And the very first thing that he did was like jolt up with a fist in the air, and he was like, "I was like,
fight
oh
or
shit,
flight."
Dad, it's me."
When I was younger and I tried to wake up my mom,
it's me,
no matter
Peter,
if I did it really like gently or like really loud, she would always respond the same. I'd be like, "Mom," and I'd gently wake her up. She'd like jolt like, or like even, and it's like,
what are they doing?
It's like, dude, I was just gently
not
kind
that
of like,
serious.
I was just kind of like, "Mom," and she'd be like, she would
like,
just freak the fuck out.
I don't
I'm
know
like,
what kind
it's
of
like-
fucking
it's like
dreams
you're a-
our parents are having.
It's like you're a drill sergeant and you're like, "Get up, shit libs! It's time to go do some drill."
Whenever Kayla wakes me up like that, I just kind of go,
That's what I do.
I don't go,
Honestly, I think how people wake up might be a good indication of like the generation they were raised in and like the shit they went through.
Christ.
Because like it's like our parent or like
"Oh God, they're coming in the back!" Ah!
normal age parents, I guess. Like you,
coming in
you
the
got
back.
like I guess you
Okay,
guys as
buddy.
parents who had you at like a normal age, because my mom had me pretty young. It seems like the common theme is like you wake them up and they're just like like they're ready for a fight, like
Yeah.
someone just broke into their house. With my mom, it's
on
like
site, dude.
yeah, my mom she had me pretty young, so whenever I wake her up, it's more like she doesn't even wake up. Like her body wakes up, I guess, but her brain's still asleep. So she'll like look at me and be like, "What? What?" And I'll tell her something, and she'll respond, and I'll have a whole conversation with her, and then the next morning she doesn't remember a word of it. So apparently I do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've actually done that to you before, Adam. I came over because Kayla was over there talking to Shay, and Shay was like, "I think he's sleeping, but I went to go ask you something." And you would just be, and I would talk to you, just be like, mm-hmm. And then I asked you the next day, and you're like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
I was like, you don't remember?" He was like, "Nope. I didn't even know you were at my house last night."
It's like me and waking up and going to school in the mornings, and you trying to interact with me, and I'll just go, and then
I
we'll
go,
talk about it.
I
Later
go,
on
"Good
in the day.
morning," and he just goes,
And
then
then
walks out
later
the door.
on in the day, you're like, "Remember that?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Nope.
So I wasn't awake, Kagan.
Okay, let's get back to some of these
Give me
cases.
some emeralds.
huge.
Some what?
Some emeralds.
Oh, I think I said hemorrhoids.
Give me some hemorrhoids.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
Blow my back out, young man.
Have y'all seen the newest Minecraft trailer?
Not the trailer.
Did he say,
no.
"Give me some
No.
hemorrhoids"?
Did he?
No.
Oh, what did he say?
Oh, now I'm disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
Who?
Jason Momau or Moa.
Meow.
Mow.
The name's
Kagan.
Meow.
Jason,
wasn't talking about
me.
I live in a realm between times, just living. I'm just kidding. I live in the great old city of Chicago. I love that video so much.
Anyway,
We're way off topic.
back to this. We have two more.
But the Minecraft trailer.
I have two more. Jackus Blackus.
Is that his name?
I don't know.
No.
Rowan Griffin.
Driffin.
How unfortunate.
Driffin.
Griffith. Nuts and
Griffith.
Griffith from Burke. Rowan Griffin in October. This one's more recent. October of 2010.
Hey, Kagan, remember when I Griffithed your chocolate milk?
Yes. Oh my god.
Anyways.
Dude, I'll explain that after we're done recording.
2-year-old Rowan Griffin.
Driffin.
In October of 2010. So this one's more recent. All the other ones were in like the 70s, the 50s. Like,
Okay.
yeah, October of 2010. 2-year-old Rowan Griffin was attending a party at his grandmother's house in New Hampshire. Around 3 p.m., he was seen chasing a cat outside, and then he simply vanished.
The cat was the spawn of Satan.
You remember the other kid who was covered in scratches said something about a cat.
Yeah.
See, the leading theory on that kid, I forgot to mention this, the kid who was discovered 12 miles away, still alive, you know, and then Survivor Man, that whole thing. A big theory is that he was abducted by, like, a cougar, like a big cat.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't kill him for some reason.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense.
Yep, that's the point. Anyway, young Griffin here, he went missing at about 3 p.m., chasing a cat, supposedly. Eventually, you know, they were searching, and authorities and search parties got down to business. And at about 2 a.m., search party, about 3 miles away, search parties found his shoes, and he was actually pretty easy to find, because whenever they called for him, he actually called back. Huh. And they found him in, like, a swamp. They found him in a nearby swamp. When they approached, they actually had to wade out to a tree that was in the middle of the swamp that he was, like, clinging to and, like, halfway up. And he was cold and like almost frozen. He was blue, and they had to get him out. He somehow got to this tree and clung to it in the middle of water at 2 years old, even though he didn't know how to swim.
What?
Yeah.
He just gained sentience, and he's like, oh,
That
yes,
was his
I know how to
lock-in
do this.
moment.
Yeah, he locked in.
He was clinging to a tree in the middle of the water when he didn't know how to swim, approximately 3 miles away from the place he disappeared.
The other guy said, stop
At 2
crying.
years old. Me at 2 years old, I would have stepped in the street and immediately gotten hit by a car.
There's some primordial eldritch forest deity that likes to toy with missing children. Or
2-year-olds.
some shit.
It's just a Spriggan.
It's a cat.
It's a Spriggan.
Spriggan.
It's a cat. It's the cat deity.
Yeah.
Me murmur, me murmur.
So did you think that the car that hit you was a metal cat?
Probably.
Yes.
Hellcat.
Yeah, it's a Dodge
Apparently-
Hellcat.
It's
a
Hellcat.
Hellcat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The fuck are you laughing at?
so one thing I have to talk about, the fact that I keep saying anyway.
No. Anyway.
One thing I do have to mention is this little thing here, this little thing with young Mr. Griffin.
Young Griff.
Young Griff.
Yeah.
Is actually a really good example. Shut up. Is actually a really good example of Mr. Politis just adding shit to his, like, some of these stories just cause. I assume to make them more interesting. Mm-hmm. One of the things in, like, the main story that he wrote in his book was that Rowan, whenever they found him, that he was perfectly dry on this tree, and 2, that he said the cows scared him and chased him to this tree, and that there weren't any cows, and this tree's in the middle of the water, and he was somehow dry. Neither of those things were true. He was soaked and freezing and, like, you know, cold as hell, and there were no cows. Like, he never said anything about any cows. So those are 2 things that, like, while this story is mysterious in its own right, I guess he didn't think it was cool enough and mysterious enough, so he just added those things.
I'm just going to throw in some cows onto the
Throw in
mix.
some cows and the fact that
yes.
the kid was dry.
Cows in the swamp. Perfect.
Yes. You know, those old swamp cows.
You mean alligators?
Yeah. Moo, bitch.
Okay.
No, alligators go quack.
Affleck.
They got beaks.
Oh, God. All right. And just like that, we're on to the last one on my list.
Ooh.
This is the one that broke me. The one that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, this is the one you were having like an epiphany about.
Yeah, this is the one that kind of led me down my path of discovering that Mr. Politis was kind of a goober and stupid. Killer
goober?
mustache, though. Killer mustache, gotta say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So Aaron Hedges, this guy's a full-grown man. He's 38 years old, and he went missing in September of 2014. So also fairly recent. And he was on a hunting trip in a Montana mountain range that was aptly named the Crazies. They're called the Crazy Mountains.
I've heard of this.
Yes, that's
I have
their
not.
actual name. Aaron and 2 of his friends, they each rode a horse, and they had a pack mule with them with supplies because they were going on this, like, extended hunting/camping trip that they did. Like, they'd go up into the mountains and they'd spend a few days up there, and they'd have all these supplies, and they'd hunt and they'd camp, and then they'd come back out of the mountains after a few days.
Hell yeah.
It was like
What was this called? Ethan, we talked about this, and I do not remember what episode, but it's like whenever you go and you hike for like a day or 2 with just enough. Rucking.
Rucking
Is it
is
the same?
different. It's where
Oh.
you just load yourself up with all this tactical shit and you see how long you can last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then that's not the same.
It's
Okay.
basically like a training simulation.
Oh, gotcha. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I was educating myself. Okay. I was in the pursuit of knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to join me on my
Don't
curiosity voyage?
Listen, don't interrupt me again. Damn, bro, damn.
Bro, damn.
Don't interrupt me again.
Just one
Rada,
correct.
Rada rada.
Rada.
Anyway, they were on this trip, and at some point, the mule, like the pack mule that they had all their supplies on, it spooked and jumped up, and all the shit that was on the mule fell off of it and fell and rolled down the mountain, and so they were without all their supplies. Luckily, these guys they pretty regularly did these trips into these mountains, so they actually had they were very familiar with the trails, and they had established supply depots.
Supply depots.
Yeah, like caches.
Like caches of just supplies like food and water and various other things that they might need in case a situation like this arose.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they had various checkpoints with little shelters with stuff just in case.
Stuff.
Very smart.
So Aaron told the other two that he was going to split off to one of their supply caches to go ahead and recuperate some of the stuff, and that he would meet them at a specific camp before nightfall. And he departed to go to this cache alone. They had satellite phones with them, and when night fell, Aaron called saying that he had missed the trailhead and he would stay at their cache on Sunlight Lake, and he would rejoin them the following morning. When they had not heard so the story in the David Paulides book, this is where it really got me, was when they hadn't heard from him or seen him the next morning, they began to search for him, and after finding nothing, they made their way out of the mountains and alerted the authorities. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty standard pattern. That's what the book said. That's not true. Whenever, he hadn't contacted him or didn't show up, they didn't search for him. They didn't search for him at all. They just kept hunting.
Friends of the year.
They kept
Fucking
kept
dickheads.
doing their thing. The hunt lasted from September 7th to September 10th, and they just kind of kept doing their thing, and I think their last contact with Aaron was on the 8th. And on the 10th, they just kind of left the mountains, and Aaron he was finally reported missing by his wife when the 11th rolled around.
What is with these people?
Yeah.
If we went on a hunting trip and y'all left me behind and I died, I would come back as a revenant and kill you all.
Yeah.
You didn't search for me, you dicks.
We did. We kind of stopped and looked out.
We
into the tree.
agreed you were missing.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
He
he
probably
probably
went
didn't
home.
make it.
Yeah, we just hoped for the worst and
Hope for the worst.
We all drove together.
We just hope. Yeah.
it's we all drove together. I had the car keys.
Listen,
Kaegan was
Kaegan,
yeah.
Listen, Kaegan, we had a thing, okay? It was
Had a
very
thing.
important. It was 5 for 5s at Wendy's or something.
Getting them biggie bags.
It was
Yeah.
$1.25 nuggets at Burger King. We
Couldn't
had to get
pass
a
it up.
lot.
Dude,
Do
pessimist.
not
Kaegan,
eat
you don't get
Burger
it.
King's nuggets.
Spicy chicken fries were back.
Do not.
Okay, I forgive you.
Do not eat Burger King chicken nuggets.
No.
You don't
We
get
have
it,
eat-
guys.
We ate 100. We split 100 Burger King.
Pretty sure this meat is like raccoon ankles.
Okay, but even
sure you
still, I'm gonna eat it.
Raccoon
They're
ankles are
shaped like
delicious, apparently.
crowns. They're shaped like crowns.
Be like,
okay?
look, I didn't
They're
mean to
unique.
abandon you, but the shamrock shape and the McRib were back at the same time. Okay,
They are. Right now, actually. I'm not even fooling.
No fooling.
No
Shamrock,
fooling.
The
I've never
Shamrock
had a
Shake
McRib.
fucks hard.
The Shamrock Shake is there, and so is the McRib.
I've never had a
Isn't
McRib.
a McRib like a McDonald's Salisbury steak?
Honestly, the McRib, if you've ever had the backyard barbecue Hungry Man,
Yeah.
it's just that on bread.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those are good.
Everybody amps it up, even fucking
I mean,
Green
it's good.
Goblin.
It is good, but it's not incredible.
Peter, have you ever had a McRib?
Okay. I was like, what?
Oh, whoa, Peter, it's me.
The Shamrock Shake is good. I don't know about the McRib.
So at this point, I didn't have the steam to really dig in and type a whole bunch of stuff and all this all these details about the search. But I do know that once the search actually started, after the wife reported him, it took a while because they were searching a mountain range. But they did find his boots, just kind of I think at one of the campsites in the opposite direction from where the friends were and where Sunlight Lake was. Mm-hmm. They found them a few miles in the opposite direction, and they were just kind of taken off, unlaced, and just kind of set on the ground somewhere. But Aaron was nowhere to be seen. And then they found him miles away again, presumably hiking miles without boots through the mountains, kind of in a ditch near a main highway, within eyesight of a ranch. He was dead on the ground.
His friends probably fucking killed him.
Wouldn't surprise me. Because there was a whole thing with, like, they told the friends were wanting to go back in and, like, go to the supply cache that he said he was going to go to.
Yeah.
And the detectives were like, don't do that because, you know, you might ruin evidence. And they went anyway. And they said they found, like, his backpack and, like, his arrows and some other stuff. But, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they...
Sounds like foul play to me. But, like, another major thing is, like, this is a good one. This is a good example. If the other one was an example of him just adding shit, this story is a good example of him just failing to mention important things.
Yeah.
Like, glossing over important details. He told this story as if, like, it was just a normal, happy relationship between, you know, it was just Aaron and he was
some
just
buddies.
he was just a normal dude, and it was him and his buddies going out in the woods to drink beer, hunt deer, and
Fuck queers. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say it
I had
too.
to make it rhyme.
I was gonna say it too. Some Brokeback Mountain shit, but like he was just making it sound like it was just a normal trip, just normal dudes. Aaron had lived a normal life. He was a nice guy, had a nice relationship with his wife. Not the case. Aaron was a recovering alcoholic, and he had really had a lot of trouble with alcohol that was tearing apart a lot of his relationships. And they actually think that the reason that he went alone to the Sunlight Lake Depot is because there was alcohol there that he could drink. But and he also had
makes a lot of sense.
and he also had a really poor mental state, and his, like, whenever they interviewed a bunch of people, his brother was, like, genuinely worried about the fact that he might have done this as, like, a suicide attempt. But yeah, Mr. Politis just failed to mention all that, and was just like, he was just a normal dude. How could he go missing? Like,
Well,
what
I guess to
happened?
Politis, that was pretty normal to be a struggling alcoholic with bad relationships.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, I'm like that, so I can't.
I
Everyone
guess
else be
everyone's like that. Like,
It's like, no, David, people can be normal.
I know I wouldn't wander off in the woods and die, even if I am an alcoholic. So this guy, what happened to him? Had to be aliens.
He's
to
like,
be
he's like,
aliens.
listen. If I was an alcoholic and I was missing, quote unquote, in the woods, I'd find my way out. And damn sure make it to an alcohol store.
What if-
or a fucking liquor store?
What if this is my theory, right? So he says he's going to that cache, right? This is just my theory. And after a while, they get worried about him, so they go look for him. They find him at the cache drinking.
And they kill him.
Well, they get into it about it, like, come on, man, like, you're not supposed to be
Yeah.
doing this. And then a fight ensues because he's probably drunk. And then in self-defense, one of them kills him.
And
I mean, yeah.
They place his body somewhere.
They place his body somewhere to make it look like he vanished.
Yeah, I can see it.
But they found his body, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
His body was, like, not far from, like, a main road.
Did they
and
say
a
what
house.
killed him?
I'm pretty sure there wasn't anything wrong with his body.
So, like,
Pretty sure there wasn't any, like, clear signs of trauma or anything like that.
And maybe he got choked to death or something. Or maybe he died of alcohol
there
poisoning.
was he a skeleton or was he like...
It wasn't that long after.
Okay,
So maybe he died of alcohol poisoning or liver failure or something.
maybe.
Like I said, I was pretty
Or a heart
broken.
attack.
I was pretty heartbroken by the fact that this is where I started to become disillusioned with Mr. Politis.
Yeah.
So,
Like, this guy's a phony. A big fat phony.
It's like the Incrediboy scene where he's knocking
It tore
Mr.
me
Incredible's
apart.
picture down.
It tore me apart.
You can't trust anyone.
yeah, I was pretty messed up about it. So,
So
I kind of glossed over the end, and I did have I saved one quote because I was doing so much research on this Aaron Hedges thing about the fact of, you know, Politis being a hack.
yeah.
I'll say it again, a fucking hack.
A liar, a thief,
A hack
and a
to
little
a-
bit of a bitch.
Oh my!
He's a hack to the sequel. I had to put this. There was a comment on one of the major posts. It was this dude on Reddit that was like cataloging all the things he got wrong and like citing sources. And so he put, let me clear my throat. David Politis claims it took him several weeks to wrap his mind around the Aaron Hedges case, but I strongly believe Politis does not understand the case to this day. Once you have enough facts, and in parentheses, not missing 411 facts, the case is not that hard to understand. And the source is, the subreddit was r/missing 411 discussions, and it was a deleted user, so I couldn't get a username.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I got you.
But yeah,
Well, damn.
so that, yeah, I just had to put that quote down there.
So, what's Mr. Pilates up to today?
I think he's still doing missing 411 shit.
Still?
He's
Because, like, he, not too long ago, they took his books and made him into, like, a little TV series, kind of similar to, like, an X-Files thing. And they're pretty popular. People watched them. People liked them. But they were also kind of this jump-off point for people to start being like, man, that's interesting. I'm going to look into it more.
I think it's on Netflix, isn't
yeah,
it?
I think so. But
What's it called?
it was kind of...
It's just called Missing 411.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like the jump-off point, though, for a lot of people to be like, oh, man, that story was interesting. I want to learn more about this Aaron Hedges guy. And then they look into it and find the actual police reports and be like, oh,
He's
he
a
made everything up.
Phony.
Yeah.
No.
What a disappointment.
Well, not everything, but
A lot of things.
left out a lot of
I
major
lied.
points. Jake, you're going to
says-
find out
It
what
says
happens
it's on Pluto TV.
when you lie to me.
To me. You guys fucking missed that earlier. We invented an inside joke.
It was basically a Rick and Morty bit
Yeah.
of like just saying the same thing over and over again and
We're just
changing.
kind of bouncing off.
We were
each
just
other.
bouncing off each other. It's being like, listen, Jake, you don't get it. They're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. You're gonna
You're
find
gonna
out
find
what
out
happens when you lie to me.
To me.
It's
And
like Mr. Politis. That's where it started. It's like he's gonna find out what happens when he lies to me.
And we would say it over and over again, and then every time we would say it, the pause would get longer.
It's like
in
he's
between,
gonna find out what happens when he lies
To me.
to me.
we had a good time
It's
with it.
even funnier the second
It was even
time.
funnier the fifth and sixth time, dude. Jesus
We
Christ.
just kept doing it. It's just like we kept changing it. Like, Jake, you don't get it. He's gonna find out. He's gonna find out. That guy. He's gonna, find, out. You know what? That
He's
guy,
gonna find out what happens
You know
when he
who's gonna find
lies,
out? That
and then
guy.
you leave, and
That
like
guy.
2 days later, to
Jake,
me.
Jake tried to pull one, and it went for a while, but eventually he said it. He was like, I was really considering saying he's gonna find out what happens when he lies, and then he was just gonna leave the call and not say it until he saw me in person.
You should have done that.
To me.
To me, yeah. To me.
But yeah, that's those are all the cases I've got for Missing 411. There are more, and there are some really interesting ones. If anyone's interested, even though Mr. Politis is, as I said, as I quote, and I will say again, a hack.
It's still interesting, regardless.
They're still interesting. Like I said, you got to take them with a grain of salt. As like you almost got to respect them as works of fiction, like creative fiction, just as much as like actual like mysteries and like documentaries. But they're still, interesting, and there is some truth in the bullshit. So, they're definitely still enjoyable. And we didn't cover anywhere close to all of them that this guy has amassed.
There's a lot.
So, and there definitely are more that I just can't remember right now. But I remember some just like thinking about them and being like can't even wrap your head
Well,
around
damn.
the circumstances.
All right,
yeah.
Kagan, your turn.
Good shit. Yeah, Kagan, what you got? What did
Kagan.
you bring to the table?
Nothing.
I think that cheeseburgers and fries work well together.
Didn't I say
I
that?
get anxious when I walk into grocery stores.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Sometimes on airplanes, I get nervous, and I do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes on
I do have something. The other day
Sometimes
I touched.
on airplanes, I get nervous and I yell. I have
This one time at band camp, I shoved a flute up my ass.
The other day we were playing Helldivers, and I taught Jake and Ethan what vitiligo was, and I explained it as like a reverse symbiote from Spider-Man.
Wait, what was the word you just said?
Vitiligo, the disease where like parts of your skin is
Oh,
white.
I was like, what is that?
Oh yeah.
Because we were talking about Boondocks.
See, I
and-
was thinking about Uncle from Red Dead Redemption 2. He's like, "What do you got?" I got
lumbago.
No. I was thinking of
Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle's got lumbago. Uncle Ruckus. I was thinking of Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks. I got revitiligo. It's the opposite of what Michael Jackson's got.
Yeah, in that episode, he's like, it's like the doctors explain it's like the symbiote, but in reverse from Spider-Man 3.
Anyways, that's about it. See ya.
Adam, plug
See
our
ya.
shit.
Missing 411.
Wow.
Okay, I got a question for y'all. Who do y'all want to go missing?
Out of the four of us?
Just in general.
Me.
If you could make someone disappear, who would it be?
I don't think anyone should answer that.
I volunteer as
out of the
tribute.
four of us. Out of the four of us. Ethan, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
I volunteer as
Shut
tribute. If you listen to this episode all the way through, you're hearing it on oh boy, you're hearing it on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. If you want to check out these awesome social clips that Ethan makes, you're going to see them on Instagram, X, Twitter, and TikTok. And that is all of our shit. 6 platforms, 3 for episodes, 3 for posts.
Indeed.
Yeah, and if you want to see the full unedited slur version, you can find it. I'm just kidding.
We don't have that yet.
We don't have that. We don't have that at all. We'll never have that.
One can dream.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, if I ask anybody that's listened to this podcast if they've heard this episode and they say no, and I find out, they're going to learn
What
what happens when they lie.